Hello everyone. Welcome back to the second session of the short story The Verger, written by William Somerset Maugham. In our last class, we had discussed the uh, the hero of the story about the hero of the story Edward Foreman, Albert Edward Foreman, and how he was dedicated to his work, the Verger. Verger is official of church official uh, person who wears the gown and do the church activities and especially religious ceremonies. And he was we also come to know that we also come to know that he was illiterate, but yet he was very much dedicated to his work, disciplined, and kind of a hard worker, and very perfectionist at the religious activities. But that new vicar has noticed about his illiteracy, and he convinced at the beginning of this beginning he that new vicar tried to convince the verger to become a literate and to learn to read and write. But the verger foreman thought that to learn and about to learn to read and write at the old age is a kind of shame, and he doesn't he doesn't feel that it is a kind of good thing or a dignified thing to him to learn at the old age. That's why he was ready to resign to his post, and with the dignity and self-respect he resigned to his post. And finally he come out of the church without having any job and without having any idea, and felt very shocked about his future, uncertain about his future. And suddenly he came to notice came to notice about the absence of the tobacco shop nearby the his street. So finally he thought about opening of a new shop. So we have discussed all these points and all these things in our previous class. So I hope you have understood about the previous things. So let us continue. What that is that new idea, that new venture get the success or not? So let us come to know about that. So we can say it is kind of new beginning. He thought that, yeah, and live like the kind of job, the verger is everything to him. But after the resigning, he was completely blank when he was resigned. But when he was enter into the middle of the street and came across the kind of idea to open new shop of tobacco. So let us discuss that new idea is going to work or not, whether this new idea gives him a success or not. Let us come to know that. The foreman opens a tobacco shop and sweet shop. After resigning from the church, Albert Foreman does not waste a time feeling sorry for himself. And the very next day, he rents a small place and opens a tobacco shop and sweet shop. It is not only just a tobacco shop, it is also having a sweet shop in the area where he could not find one the day before. Uh, since there was no other shop nearby, the customers begin coming regularly. His business slowly starts doing well, and he becomes a successful due to the lack of competition, and there was no shop nearby his area. So Foreman is a polite, clean, and professional. People like him and begin trusting his shop for their daily needs. So, with hard work and planning, shop becomes profitable within a few months. And Foreman noticed that other neighborhoods nearby also have no tobacco shops, and he rent another shop and then another. In a few years, he opens a chain of 10 shop in a various parts of the London. Remember, students, he opens within a few years, he opens a chain of 10 shops in the various parts of the London. Even though he cannot read or write, he was excellent. He has excellent memory and observation, understanding of the business. So expands his business and opens some multiple shops. He remembers what to stock, what to stock in the shops, and which kind of customers prefer what kind of um, items, and how to handle the money. So he hires assistants and accountants, laborers to manage the paperwork, but the main business idea was always come from him. And his business growth was kind of wonderful. The foreman uses the memory, practical skills. Soon, the foreman becomes a rich and respectable businessman. He hires a literate assistant to manage the accounts, becomes a wealthy and respectful businessman, and he wears a very expensive clothes and lives comfortably and deposits the large sums in the bank regularly. One day, the bank manager calls him for a discussion about his savings. So the manager is surprised. He was shocked. He was amazed. The bank manager was amazed at his success without literacy. He comes to know about his illiteracy. The manager is surprised at how much money Foreman has in his accounts. He says, Mr. Foreman, you have done extremely well. If you could read and write, you could be a millennial long ago. He suggested that bank manager says, being illiterate, you have earned a lots in the life and earned a lot of wealth and fame and success in the life. And then he suggested that bank managers amazed if he learns to read, and if he learned to read and write, how could be the success will be having a such kind of peak. That was a kind of amazing to the bank manager. But the answer of the foreman is gives a very very kind of ironic one. It is amazed one. The foreman gives a quiet smile and replies. He just smile and replies, if I could read and write, I would still be the verger of the St. Peter's Church in the London. So this statement, he says, if I could read and write, I would be still there, the verger in the St. Peter's Church. So here the story ends with these statement of the Verger. If I could read and write, I would be still the Verger. So here this statement is the main irony and essence of the story. So this last line of the story is a main irony of the story. Essence of the story. The church rejected him for not being educated, but but that very reason pushed him towards the great success. His life story proves that formal education is not only the path to the achievement. His life himself proved him that. So here intelligence, hard work, self-belief, practical knowledge can also lead a lead a life to the successful one. The story ends on a humorous yet a powerful note. So success does not always require formal education. The foreman is ordinary man with no degrees, no certificate, become a successful entrepreneur simply by using his skills and experiences. So Maugham uses a simple language here. The Somerset Maugham uses a simple language and great gentle humor to tell us that every person has a hidden potential. Sometimes the rejection opens the door to better opportunities. So here the practical knowledge and self discipline, dedication, hard work matters to everything. The irony of the life is man thrown off the here the foreman is thrown out for his illiteracy become a richer than his educated superiors. The hidden potentiality of the foreman has makes him very a successful person in the life. So we have some hidden potentialities, some hidden skills, but we are unaware about it. When he was a Verger, he was unaware about his hidden potentiality, his talent and skills and practical knowledge. When he come out of that comfortable zone, and when he uh, 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 be a part of the in the kind of life risk, he thought about the survival. We can remember the Charles Darwin's theory, survival of the fittest. Means he then when he come out of the comfortable zone of the church, he thought about the survival of, then he thinks about his livelihood, then come to a new idea, new venture, started his new venture. Everyone has a talent, even if they are not visible in the exams or certificates. So here, dear students, I would just tell you that your talent and your knowledge and your life skills and your practical intelligence makes you everything a perfect person, a successful person in the life. Whether you get a more marks or less marks, that is not a matter in the life. The matter is your life building potentiality. That potentiality, self reliance. The foreman does not beg, feel helpless when he come out of the church. He creates his own path. Like that, you have to develop kind of ability to create our self reliance and independency, creates our own path to become a successful. Here we can say that the real education is life experience and common sense. These are the real education can be a more useful than bookish knowledge. So the dignity and the grace is also matters here. He never complains, becomes bitter about his being removed. When he come out of the church, he felt that uh, how can I lead a life? He didn't felt like that. He just come out of the church without any feeling any guilty or fear about the future. He just come out of the church and started thinking after the resigning. So here the moral of the story is what seems like a failure can become a turning point in the life. If you what seems in the failure, what seems like a failure, if we thought that I am a failure in this day, on this day, today I am a failure, that is not the ultimate result of the life. So that is ultimate point of the life, that can be a turning point in the life. Never underestimate your abilities, never underestimate your capabilities, your potentiality. Come to know about your potentiality, your life skills. Education is important, but so are the courageous, discipline, and self belief. Yes, I can say that. Here, the story cannot justifies that to become a illiterate uh, is everything. It is not telling like that, but education is important. But along with, you have to develop the characteristics like courage, discipline, hard work, thinking and life skills and self belief. That matters everything here. So now we can conclude that William Somerset Maugham's The Verger is simple yet inspiring story that shows how a man who is not a book smart can still achieve a great success through the practical intelligence, hard work, and self discipline. The story teaches not to judge others by academic qualification. The academic qualities, sometimes we can see the such peoples in our surrounding, even though having their gold medalist and having a PhD degrees, but they are unable to lead a good life. And it is also highlights the irony of the life where a man lost his job because he could not read, but that very reason led him to build a better life than previous. So here we can see that the practical intelligence, hard work, self discipline are the main themes of the story. Rejection can be start of the better life. Rejection, failure is not everything or ultimate point or ultimate result of the life. Yet it's just a kind of beginning for new life. So, it's dear students, just could say you to get this kind of this kind of story as your inspiration, and get a motivation from this story, and have a nice day. Thank you.